Hi there. Are you an artist who's been painting for 5 years or less and you're wondering how you can get your art to that fine art status? Or maybe you're an artist who is looking for your voice and your signature style. And I'm here to tell you that's exactly why I created the Honest Art Workshops, and we have them in gorgeous destinations all over the world. And in them we tap into you and to your voice. I only host a handful of them a year, 3 to 5. So if you're interested in that, head to the link in the show notes to learn more. Hello and welcome back to the Honest Art Podcast. I am your host, Jodie King, and I'm super excited that you are here. Now, the topic that we have to talk about this week is something you may or may not want to hear about, because what I have found is that people have big feelings about social media. But today, what I'm going to talk about is more specifically Instagram, because Instagram is one of those platforms that is uniquely suited for visual artists. Now, other forms of social media, super important. Facebook, same. It's a great visual platform. I just have made most of my sales of my art through Instagram and Facebook, so that's why I'm talking about this today. Now, I get that a lot of people, especially in my demographic, in our demographic, we have been slow to embrace social media specifically for selling our art. I'm going to talk about all of that, about why we have done that, but I can tell you there has never been a more powerful way for us to get collectors, for us to sell our art. Never. There's never been a more powerful way that is also free. So by the time we finish the end of this podcast, what I hope you take away from is, you know what, I'm really missing out on some sales. And if I just did a little bit more with social media, it could completely change my art business. So if you're ready, let's get messy. All right, so let's get started and just talk about the elephant in the room, and that is, why do so many of us actually hate social media? Now, obviously, there is the political climate. We're like, I don't want to get on there. I don't want to see any of that. I get that, right? But that's not usually why us as artists, that's not usually what's keeping us from getting on social media. What I've seen, and I've worked with thousands of artists around this, what I have seen, no pun intended, is that the reason most of us don't get on social media is because we are afraid of being seen. Can you relate to that? Maybe you are someone who is afraid of being seen. Maybe you are somebody that's like, I don't want to put myself out there, right? I don't want to put my art out there. I am afraid of being seen. But the irony around this is that one of our basic human needs as human beings is to be seen and heard. Now, obviously, we don't have to be seen and heard by the masses. We want to be seen and heard by people that we love and who love us. I get that. But if you could ask yourself, am I actually afraid of being seen in the fullness of who I am? If you can ask yourself that question and then ask yourself, what can I do to make myself feel safer within this platform? Then you will be able to create a social media profile that feels honest and true to you, where you can still be seen, but you can also feel safe. Here's an example. So a lot of times people don't want to show themselves, like, because they think they have to take a selfie or something like that. But you can just do like a side image, or even a photo from the back with your hand, painting. You can do something like that, and you're still showing yourself and you're still showing your work, but it doesn't feel like you're super exposed. Another reason why we have a tendency to not want to get on social media is that we have been taught from a young age, don't brag, don't be too much, don't be too loud, don't be too fill in the blank, right? And sometimes when we put our painting on social media, or maybe we're just really proud of a piece that we finished, it feels like, well, if I put that on there, it just looks like I'm bragging. I'm here to tell you it's not. What is bragging to one person is inspiring to someone else. So you might feel like, well, I'm just bragging. But if I were to see your post, I would be like, yes, go Amy, go Anna, go Rebecca, go, people who love you and even people who don't know you will be inspired because you have the guts to do this, right? That you have the guts to show what you're doing. That's not bragging. That's just showing up. So another one, and I hinted at this, another reason why we don't get on social media is because we're thinking, well, we don't like the way we look on camera. I've had people say this to me. They said, well, I'm not like you, Jodie. I don't, I'm not used to the camera. I don't look like I want to look. Maybe it's those extra pounds that we think, are adding too much. But in general, it's like we don't like the way we look. Well, I can tell you, we are so hypercritical of ourselves. So just show up in the fullness and in all of your authenticity. And just within that, you are going to inspire other people. Another reason why we don't do it is because we think we are going to have to dance or point or do some stupid dance or something that so many influencers are doing. And you don't have to do any of that. I don't think I have done one single dance on Instagram, and I love to dance. Okay. But I'm just not going to do that. And so many of these influencers that are doing this, God bless them. You can tell I'm from the South. God bless them. They might be influencing, but you don't see a lot of sales coming from that. So no, you don't have to do anything fancy. You don't have to do anything that is uncomfortable for you at all. You just have to show up and be you. And this brings us to the one that I struggled with at first, and I probably still do a little bit, but it's like, we feel like, well, I don't want to look cringe. Maybe you're afraid your kids are going to be like, Mom, that's so cringe, whatever. Well, I could tell you, and I don't want you to do this, by the way, but I can tell you that I can go back to my very first posts from Instagram. Guess what they were? They were cringe. They absolutely were. But I had to start somewhere. Also, oh my gosh, if you're watching this on YouTube, I can tell you there are so many YouTube videos on here that I still cringe over, but hey, they are performing. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of views. So I leave that shit up there, right? Yes, you might look cringe. Welcome to the rest of us. Welcome. Welcome to the team, because that's just part of it. I'm sorry. I don't think there's any way that we can get around it. But here's the thing, you guys. Being on social media, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, whatever it might be, Instagram or social media has provided artists a way for getting our art seen that was never available to us before. So there was a time that the only way that we could really get our work out there and seen by the masses was through the gallery system. Or maybe it was through an exhibition, something like that. But in general, to the masses, it used to be that was the only way to do it. And now through social media, not only can we get out there more, but we are in control. We are in control of what our feed looks like. We are in control of what we put out there. And I'm going to tell you the things that you can put out there that are going to help you build a collector base and more. Okay, so I find this a fascinating study. And this study showed that 80% of people, when they were wanting to introduce a new brand, maybe it's a new artist, but they're wanting to introduce a new brand or person to someone, they are now going to social media to introduce the person to that brand, where there was a time when they were doing it through websites. That's not the case anymore. So 80%. So you can imagine, if you don't have a presence on social media, you are likely not getting recommended to other people, because that's where people are. They're on social media, and I find this all the time. It's a place for you to have your portfolio, right, of different paintings. It's a place like for your resume, because when you get accepted into an exhibition, or you get accepted by a gallery or whatever, that all ends up on social media as well. And so it's the portfolio, it's the resume, and then it's also the storefront, right? So you're offering all of this in one spot for people to be able to know what you and your art is all about. And what I find so fascinating is I've talked to gallery owners, I've talked to art consultants, I've talked to just people in the art world, and that's how they are finding artists for their galleries. That's how they are researching artists, is through social media. So this is not something that's like that's going away. It's only getting bigger and bigger. And what I find so interesting is that in the last 3 years, social media has gone from like social media to interest media. So what do I mean by that? So interest media is when the algorithm is giving you more of what you like. It's giving you more of what you're interested in. So you can have people anywhere in the world, if they are an art collector or they are a gallery owner and they are looking for artists, the algorithm is again now interest driven. So the algorithm will likely put people they've never seen before in front of them. And if you're not even on the platform, there's no way that you're going to be able to be that person. But by just doing a few things that I'm going to suggest, you can have so much success on Instagram. And by the way, it can be success on Instagram, any kind of social media platform. And you can start now. If you're like, you know what, there was a time I feel like I missed the boat. The algorithm is not what it used to be. No, it's not what it used to be. That's the good news. It's interest driven now. So there is even more benefit for you to get on the platform. Now, a few things for when you do get on the platform, or maybe you're already on Instagram, let's say, but you're like, it's not working. Well, let me tell you, it's not that it doesn't work. And I know this from myself. I know this from working with tons of artists. As in my program, Studio Elite, I have a team of experts that I work with, on my team, and those experts are available to the members in Studio Elite. And one of those team members is a social media person, and she's really freaking good. And so when you know how to do it, that's when it's successful. So I'm going to give you some tips on how to do it. So if you're the person that's saying, I'm on it, I don't really have that many followers, nobody is commenting on any of my stuff, I don't get many likes, that's okay. We're going to get you there. That just because it hasn't been working doesn't mean that it can't work, because I assure you that it can work. Okay, first thing is you need to remember your page is about you. It is absolutely about you. The key is remembering that it's not for you. It is about you, but it is not for you. So if it's not for us, who is it for? It is for those collectors. It is for those gallery owners. It is for those art consultants. And what are they looking for? This is the thing we have to keep in mind. So when we're thinking about this, Obviously, your photos are going to be very important, right? So take a little extra time to make sure that the color is correct. Take a little extra time to make sure that, it's cropped well. Take a little extra time to make it look just a little more important, and classy, right? Unless that's not your brand, then don't do that. But knowing that these photos are super important gives you everything. So going back to it's about us, but not for us. If you are using the platform to grow an art business, you absolutely can put photos of your dog on there for sure. But don't have 90% of the images be of your dog, because that's not for someone else. That might be for your best friend who likes your dog. That might be for your parents who like your dog. But it's not for the art consultant. It's not for the art collector, right? So keep in mind that your photos are really, really important. One of the things that really trips people up is actually not the photo. It's the caption. It's what you write about the photo. I cannot emphasize this enough. Your caption is where you are really going to grab people. Your caption is how you are really going to connect. So you might have a photo of a painting that stops the scroll. For sure, it could be amazing. But if your caption is 30 by 30 acrylic and mixed media on panel, that is the most boring fucking caption ever. That does not make people go, oh my gosh, what an interesting artist. I want to learn more about them. No, not at all. But if your caption actually talks about the painting, talks about what the piece meant, talked about what inspired the piece. And by the way, this doesn't have to be like 3 paragraphs. This could be a sentence or 2 sentences. But it's through your caption that you are going to get people engaged in what you're doing. It's like when you meet somebody for the first time and when you talk to them, they are warm, they're endearing, maybe they're funny. That's when you decide, I might want to spend more time with them. They might look amazing on the outside. You might be dressed well. They might, whatever that might be. But as soon as you find out they're warm and endearing and they're like, you know what? I think I want to be friends with them. If, on the other hand, they present really well on the outside, but they don't really want to talk to you, they don't really have anything interesting to say, they don't ask you any questions about yourself, how much are you really going to want to be friends with them? And would you want to follow them on social media? Probably not. And so this is where so many people get tripped up, is in the caption and in not like showing who you are. So the other thing about the caption, this is important, is when people are scrolling, what they will see is an image, and then they'll see the first 2 sentences of the caption. So those first 2 sentences are an amazing opportunity. They're what we call the hook. If you can write something that is clever or interesting or just something that catches people's attention within those first 2 sentences, then you've got their attention and they will likely stop and they will read the entire caption. So if you're like, social media is not working for me, look at your captions, okay? Look at your images that you're posting and also look at your captions. Okay, so let's just move on from that and talk about a little bit more about how social media is about you, but it's for someone else. So the 3 things that I like to run a filter through to decide if something is worthy of posting or not, or maybe how I need to decide the caption or what I need to write, I always ask myself this one question. I ask myself, will this inspire, entertain, or educate? Okay, let me say that again. Ask yourself if this post will inspire, entertain, or educate? And when we run it through that filter, that can really help us to discern how we want to position something. Because sometimes it's like, well, I don't know if I need to post that I sold a painting. And the reason I always suggest that we as artists post when we've sold a painting, it's because that falls under the inspire category. That is really inspiring, not only to other artists that might follow you, and I'm going to talk about, if you feel like you just have too many artists following you, but it's not only inspiring to other artists that follow you, but it also creates FOMO for collectors and gallery owners and art consultants. So FOMO, fear of missing out, right? So when people see that you are selling your art, listen, I don't care if you sold your art for $5. That's not the point. It's not the price. It's the fact that somebody else wanted your work and you are putting that out there. And when somebody else wants something, other people are going to want it. We see this time and again throughout culture. We see it with shoes. We see it with handbags. We see it with luxury items. We see it with cars. We see it everywhere. When someone else wants something, the rest of us tend to want it as well. So that posting something in a painting is sold is inspiring. The other thing is, can you educate? Sometimes our process videos, so many people like them because we're kind of educating them on what our process is and how we created that painting. That education could be just the thing for a collector to be like, oh my gosh, their process is so cool. I love to watch them paint. Like that's educate, right? And then entertaining. Life is hard, you guys. Life be lifing, especially these days, right? And anytime we can entertain somebody through something that we post, and that usually comes to how honest are we willing to be? How much are we willing to kind of throw ourselves under the bus and talk about some bonehead? I do this all the time, talk about some bonehead thing that I've done. That's entertaining, right? It might have hurt in the moment, but it can be entertaining for someone else. So I always run it through that filter, and I suggest you do the same. If you're wondering if this is for your audience or for you, ask yourself, is this inspiring, educational, or entertaining? Hey guys, real quick, I want to tell you that one thing I know for sure, that in order for artists to thrive, they need community, they need support, and they need business and creative skills. And that's why I created my membership group called the Honest Art Society. Within the Honest Art Society, I offer coaching calls every month. You get monthly art critiques as well. You get trainings on everything from creative techniques to business skills, and you get exclusive discounts on workshops and courses. But maybe most importantly is you get a community of amazing, kind artists, all in an asshole-free zone. So if you'd love to join us in the Honest Art Society, you can go to the link in the show notes. The cost is only $47 a month, and you can cancel at any time. I'd love to see you there. Okay, next thing is if you feel like you're not getting, nobody really comments on your things that you're posting, or no, you're not getting many likes, but mostly the comments. My question to you is, are you interacting with people as if it's a conversation? And by that, I mean, are you asking questions in your caption? So that may be like, well, why would I ask people questions? Well, because it goes back to, whether you're going to decide to be friends with someone or not. What if nobody ever asks you questions about yourself, right? It's all about them. Do you really want to be their friend? No. So when you post something and it's supposed to be social, right? Ask people questions. And if you're like, well, I don't know what to ask, I'm going to give you a few things. So let's say you post something about a painting gone wrong, or a painting that's in the fugly stages. You could write a caption about that, and you could put the question, does this ever happen to you? I mean, it's just such a simple question, right? Another question that I like is if you post a couple of paintings, or maybe you post one painting and you're not sure which way to turn it, you can ask people, which way is your favorite? Let people get involved. Let me tell you, People have big feelings and big opinions about how a painting needs to turn, whether it's horizontal or vertical. You'll get lots of comments about that. Another simple question that I ask sometimes is like, can I get an amen? It'd be like, I love it. In the comments, you've got people going, amen, 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 yes, amen. It's like, it was such a simple question to ask, but it makes me smile because it was like, oh my gosh, look at all these people interacting with me. It just feels good. And another one I like to ask is, you talk about something and maybe you're feeling frustrated, or maybe you've got something that makes you particularly happy, or maybe you like painting a certain thing over and over again. One of the questions that I like to ask is it just me? Comment below, right? So, or just say, is it just me? Right? So the thing is that you can have a small following that's loyal, that is engaged in your work and engaged in your platform. And that is going to be so much more valuable than a large platform or a large following that's silent. So don't think, well, I don't have thousands of followers. That's okay. Do you have a couple hundred followers that are engaged in what you do? Because those are the people that are going to continue to be with you. Those are the people that likely think that your art is amazing, that the sun shines out your ass, that you're just interesting, that you're cool. It's so much better to show up real and authentic and have that small following and just be grateful for them than think, oh, I don't have all of those other people. Because, it's like, would you rather have a small circle of friends or a large circle of friends? So once we've got all of these questions down and people start engaging with us, then we can really start building something that feels really, really important and foundational. But I still know that there are people that are not getting on social media because, frankly, you just don't know what to post, right? And that can be tricky. And so I always say, if you don't know what to post, I want you to keep something in mind. Social media is a magazine. It's not a catalog, okay? So the difference between the two, a catalog would be like product, sell, right? That's not the best way to use social media, right? The best way to use social media is to think of it more as as a magazine. And magazines, what do they have? Well, yeah, they definitely sell things. There's advertising all over a magazine, but there's also personal interest stories, and there's also how-to stories, right? Things like that. And that's what we need to think about as we're thinking about what to post. And I like to break it down and call it the 3 Ps. So what are the 3 Ps? The Ps are the product or the painting, which however you want to look at it. Some people do sculpture and something. So the product or the painting, that's the first P. The second P is the person. Yes, people want to buy the art, but they are much more likely to buy the art if they like the artist or they are invested in the artist. So we've got the painting, we've got the person, and the third P is the process. Do you have something in process that you could show them? Do you have it can be, you guys, it doesn't have to be you painting an entire painting. It can literally be you wrapping up a painting. It can be you rinsing out a brush in your water. All of this goes into process. Person, painting, process. That's the best way to do it. And do you know what? This is about to be more important than ever. So if you think that it's too late to get on social media, nah. It's more important than ever because AI is coming. In fact, it's not even that AI is coming, AI is here. And because of that, people are going to be wondering, is this even real? Is this, I've been on social media, I've looked at some guy talking and I'm like, that's not that guy. That's totally AI. And there's going to be more and more and more of this, right? So if you can get on this bandwagon now, even though you think it's too late, if you can get on this now, this is going to serve you and your art business more than ever as it's going forward, because people are going to know you as the artist, because you're going to be posting your painting and you're going to be posting your process, and you are going to be posting things about you. All right, now let's talk about the next thing that I hear people say. They're like, well, Jodie, most of the people that follow me are artists. How do I get collectors? Okay, so let's talk about this one, all right? I sell a lot of art through social media, and I would say the large proportion of the people that follow me are artists. So why is that? Well, number one, who likes art the most? Usually it's artists, right? And artists have money. We got to get rid of this whole starving artist bullshit, right? Artists also like to collect art, and they have the money to purchase art. Not everyone, but not everyone has money to purchase everything, right? So it's just like, what is your priority? Well, a lot of times a priority for artists is art. But here's the other thing, is that there are so many other ways that we can leverage those artists that are following us that we don't even know about. An example of this is, I don't know if you saw or listened to my podcast that I did with artist Stacy Solodkin. She does this gorgeous sculpture. That one of the things she talked about was that she was so grateful that she has so many artists following her, because that's the way she was able to get into a few of the galleries that she was in. She had artists that were following her recommend her to the galleries that either the gallery owner that they knew or the galleries that they were in. So do you see, like, this can be so important. Another thing, there is another artist, amazing artist, named Anna Stapleton. And Anna is on social media, and she was even posting paintings that were just a work in progress. And a local hotel that's being built contacted her, and she licensed a deal with them, and now her art is going to be in 70 rooms with this hotel. So you might be thinking, yep, it's just artists following me. I need to get to collectors. I need to get to gallery owners. I get it. Yeah. You know what? Here's what I want you to do. I just want you to bloom. I just want you to show up with you and your work in the fullness of yourself and your work. It goes back to like the idea of the flower, right? The flower and the bee. So the flower doesn't chase the bee. And when you think of it like a sunflower, right? That sunflower, I just think of a sunflower with their shoulders back a little bit, and its head's really high. It's got this crown of yellow petals around it, and it is just blooming like a motherfucker. It is just out there shining, right? And that makes it so much easier for the bee to find it. And that's what we're doing. We are showing up. We are blooming on social media so that, since this is now an interest media, so that those gallery owners can find us, so that those collectors can find us, so that all of these people that are in the art world, that's where they're going to find the next piece of art and to find the next artist. So you have to ask yourself, is it worth your fear of being seen? Is it worth your fear of, feeling like you're not picture perfect? Is it worth all of that to not be on this platform that could really get you in front of the people, can make your dreams come true? Is it really worth all the fear to not do this? I would say no. I would say do it scared, because when people really lean into social media and they really start putting themselves out there, I can tell you they see huge results, because social media is the new search engine. And if you're not on it, then you don't likely exist in the minds of people who really need you and need your art. I hope you find that helpful. And if you liked this episode and you are watching it on YouTube, please like and subscribe to the channel. And if you are listening to this on your favorite audio platform, if you could give us a 5-star review, 5 stars and a review, I'd appreciate it so much. Okay, until next time, take good care of yourselves and each other. Peace out.